Okay, for the sake of being honest, I jumped ahead a couple of pages to notice it's a bifold setup. So I did look at a couple of pages ahead so I could fit it into the screen here. But it is all HO here. It's 115 pages. I'm going to go through it quickly as I can. I'll try to keep the babbling other than this down to a minimum. But you're going to get my opinions and my reactions to it. Okay, and then you guys can look for yourselves, but I'm sure most of you look at these models, so you don't need my overlay on it. Okay, so checked and ready to go. So Jouef, RivaRossi, Lima, and Electrotren. Okay, join the RivaRossi club, join the Electrotren club, meets and fairs, okay. And so we're going to start off with Jouef, and this is as far as I went. I had no idea until I said, okay, it's going to be a bifold setup here. They don't let you really focus in on one page and enlarge it, so things are going to be a little smaller here. All right, so we're starting with Jouef, and what do we start off with? Okay, a 241. Okay, I have a 241 over there, but I don't know the different classes and gauges, and before people start typing in their histories of French locomotives, I'm not that interested. Okay, I just save your type. You don't need to try to educate me on this. If I decide to get into something, I'll study it. All right, so we have a couple of 241s here, which I always associate with the Orient Express. We have two variations here, a green one and a much darker green black one. I think they're both very sharp. I love the real museum model they have up there, the Mistral. So, yeah, those are very sharp, very cool. They definitely are gorgeous and would look good in front of any rake of luxury coaches and cars. All right, and now some diesel shunters, an 040DG. And they have a little car to go with it. What does that say? It is a, well, it doesn't explain what that is. And since it's all in French, I'm out of luck. Sorry, I don't read French. But a little assistant vehicle there of some kind, whether it's an additional power car or what, or just something that goes with it. Yeah, you know, cool enough. And here's another variation. Okay, a rail car, le AGP1. And then they've got variations here, it looks like. Parsifal from Paris to Dortmund. Interesting. Ran into Germany. So they have French and German, French, and then French and Swiss. So some cool rail cars. Trans-Europe Express. I keep trying to scroll it, but it doesn't scroll. It clicks forward. Okay, the Voslo's Class 18s. So a German-French variation, Era 6, and another German-French variation. And it looks like they've got very similar couplings. Not quite the Märklin close couplings, but similar. Don't think I like those couplings as much. All right, here we go. These are kind of cool. I like these a lot. An XTER and X72500 in a couple of different colors. Those are very sharp. I assume these are regional express commuters. So, yeah, very cool. And now Märklin is releasing this, and here is another one. It is a TGV, the Milan Paris, the TGV Inouï. And yeah, variations of it, but all of them look to say French Italian, so obviously that route. Very sharp. I would love a TGV. But I don't think these guys are making anything in 3 rail. So I would have to look to the Märklin one, which is going to be a fortune. And I assume that even a Jouef would cost a pretty penny. But very cool. And a Thalys. Anybody who knows me knows I would love, or at least what was a Thalys. They call that the Eurostar, but it looks like a Thalys to me. But I believe they've rebranded it. That what was the Thalys is now called the Eurostar. I would love that. That's a gorgeous train, high speed, passenger, modern era. You had me at hello. So it is obviously Dutch. Again, emphasizing it was probably of the Thalys family, Belgian and French. French, Belgian, and Dutch. So yeah, I would happily own one of those. That's a cool looking. But again, it's the live picture. I need to see the model. Live pictures are great. I need to see the models. All right, so here is a group of what look to be modern era locomotives. And again, I don't know my classes. A couple of these look like tracks. A couple look like bombardiers. So you guys, I can't tell you much about it. Who they are. These might be similar to things I know in German. Or they might be totally different classes altogether. But a nice variety. I think I like the style on the left a little better. That class over there, it's kind of cool. Although those also hit me as they might be freight, but I don't know. And but very cool looking. I do like the design of them. I like the livery look on them. All right, and then here's where I will start to get into trouble. Cool cars, and the locomotive matches the cars. I have just, this is a Capitol. I know this train by name, and I've got friends that run this model. I've just never been big into those locomotives. I apologize. It's great if you are. I always call them the end tables because they remind me of end tables my old grandparents, aunts and uncles, and great aunts and uncles had in their houses. Just this bi-level kind of funky shape on them. Very 50s, 60s look. Sort of somewhere across between Art Deco and Art Nouveau. So the coaches are grand. It makes a beautiful train. It's just never been my thing. Okay, here we go. The Sud Express. So you're going to get your Pullman cars. And this is my first experience with their catalog. So I'm looking at the car that is highlighted and colored versus the ones that seem to be silvered out a bit. So this is France, Spain, and Portugal. And it's era 3 and 4, so it's the post-war era, so something akin to the Orient Express, but the Sud Express. All right, what do we have here? The Mistral 69. Interesting. I'm trying to get so era 3 and 4. Comes with sound and light functions. I always find it interesting when they give you the end car and they put sound and light functions on it. It's like, isn't that just in Loco? Or maybe you have an old Loco that doesn't have it and they give you the sounds and that here. But yeah, cool enough. All silver cars just are not my favorite. I want some kind of livery on them. Or if it's going to be all one color, you know, all black, all red, all green. All silver or even two-tone silver with gray, just not my favorite. I'm gonna get in trouble for that. All right, Belgium and French, some cars with an auto rack, and when you look at the working model down there, that lights up, very nice, very sharp. Can't complain about that at all. And the TEN, Train Auto Couchette. So what is that? Car and sleeper, because a couchette's a sleeper, isn't it? The Voiture Restaurant car. CIWL. I forget how to, mostly same as in German. Et l'invention des voyages de luxe, so innovation in luxury travel. Very sharp, very sharp. All right, again, cars. Looks almost like some American Baltimore, Ohio cars I have down there. That HJ4216. DEVAO type. Livery bleu blanc. I know a little bit of French, and I learned basic French 45 years ago. Okay, 50 years ago. All right, yeah, the white and red there. See that little difference of all white with the red stripe? Very cool. Of course, that gets me because it's like ICE3, but yeah, some cool cars. And again, another auto rack car. Very cool. So park your car and travel on the train. All right, some container stuff. Kronenburg, with that OU to make it French instead of the U, which is German. Kronenburg. Franprix Supermarché. Some cool flatbeds and can never go wrong with container freight. Safmarine, La Haye, so obviously French. Citroën, I know them. Car company originally. Cargill, Millet, or Millet, Andros. Those are all cool looking hoppers, as I would call them. And somebody will probably correct me and say, those aren't hoppers. Yep, that's what I call it. I do like the long tarpaulin cars. Those are very cool. Those are very cool. I have a Luxembourg one in this style, but very cool. Tankers. Atelier des Joigny. Joanne, yeah. OI is wa. Joanne. More cool tankers from different, well, actually, they're all Air 6. Now, what is that one? Oh. I really like, is that carrying glass? Is that a glass carrier? That's really cool. I like that. That's carrying sheets of glass. Porte-votis, Alex. And again, sorry, don't speak enough French. I know just enough French to get into trouble and out of trouble. Smotra. So yeah, very, very cool. Obviously, Millet is a big French company because we've got a lot of different ones there. Tolgas, Algeco. So, showing a lot of the things that are being, I assume when it says encore disponibles, that these are things that are just being continued release or re-released. Encore, repeating, I know that much. So all kinds of cool little locomotives there. And a couple of things. That little steamer's kind of cute. What is that? An 040 or an 080? But toaster ovens and you got to have crocodiles or variations of crocodiles, even in France. I do like the little sort of pseudo Stadler unit, the Bordeaux thing in the bottom left-hand corner there. That's cool. I like that. But similar liveries. So yeah, they're going through and showing some of the things we just saw in review. As well as adding things. So that's Jouef. Okay. And we continue with Jouef. I thought we were ending. So these are sort of like little rail cars or rail buses. Interesting. Those are kind of funky. Little bit at the top there. I hadn't really noticed that. It's on one side of the vehicle, looking at the real prototype. So I assume that's the little driver cockpit. That's weird. And I don't say that in a negative way. I just hadn't really seen that before. So that's kind of cool. Aesthetically, My OCD wants it to be complete over the top, not that little half bit. It's like, no, why'd you cut that off? Put it over the rest of the way. So, yeah, just various liveries, and this is all Aero 4. Yeah, Aero 4, different, slightly different window schemes, and some are paint, variations in the model. They're not just the same thing repainted, obviously. Just different regional, they call them bicars. So, yeah, again, I don't have the depth to say. And here we go, the end tables. It's a cool livery, and it makes the locomotive look a little cooler. I mean, it might be like Class 37s. 37s from the UK can be so ugly, or they can be really cool. It's all about the livery. And so, MKD, little model buildings. I'm going to zip through this. I'm not here to look at buildings. There's so many. You got a little BP station. But yeah, I mean, if you want more French-oriented, because obviously Kibri, Fulmer, Fowler, and Auhagen and so forth, they do more German, Central European base. So Western European, yeah, you got to go to, but I know nothing about MKD models other than I've heard of them. All right, so now we're moving to the Spanish company, Electrotren. And we got pictures. That is a glorious looking locomotive, big, powerful, impressive. The Santa Fe Novidad, and I'll need my daughter-in-law to come here and translate all this for you. She speaks fluent Spanish. She is Colombian. So a gorgeous steamer there. Do we have a model? No, we have pictures. And if you haven't seen my other reviews, one thing I criticize in catalogs is it's great to show pictures of what you're going to make, but I like to see the actual model. I don't want to see CADs, and I don't want to see a photograph saying we're making this, because I like to see the model. The model is what gets me excited, and then compare it to the original to say, wow, they really got this spot on. I mean, these are cool looking locomotives. I love that coloring on them. They're very, I like that tint of blue, blue black steel. That's very cool, but show me the model. All right, so here we have models. We have an actual model and then two CADs. And I know even less about Spanish trains, so I don't know formats or anything else. This is all Greek to me. All right, all Spanish to me. So variations, 75th anniversary of Electrotren. So congratulations, although you're still around by name, but you're now owned by Hornby. So you're not the same company you were years ago. I do like that white and red livery. The black and yellow is okay. Not bad. Interesting green on the left. But to see these three variations, I think they're all variations of the same model. All right, a rail car, the Renfa, the Series 444 Renfa. That's a very cool. Got the Spanish flag colors in it. Very eye-catching. I like that a lot. And then up on the other side, we got the Streamliner. So that's Aero 4. I was going to say that's not modern era livery there. Actually, the one on the left wasn't modern era, but you could pull that off today. That one on the left, the one I really like, you could throw those on the rails today, and I think it would be a standout livery. Other ones feel more dated. And then down below, a very standard looking livery. Again, a nice one, just kind of standard, but a bit dated in some ways, I guess you could say. Definitely an 80s vibe to it. All right, now let's talk about the modern world. I have no idea what this is, but it's really cool. That looks like if a Shinkansen and an ICE, a German ICE-1 and a Japanese Shinkansen had a love child. That's what that looks like to me. I hope a few people will appreciate the laugh. The Seneca. That is very funky, and I'm going to say that in both a good and an odd way. Yeah, I mean, that I'm going to say it for the third time. It looks like a old Shinkansen and an ICE-1 from Germany had a love child. And I think once I say that, anybody who knows what I'm talking about, you won't be able to unsee it. But both these liveries are cool. But to be honest, I'm digging the funky purple. That's cool. I'm sorry. I've had some very snobby people go, oh, women don't know anything about trains. They only judge them by their liveries. It's like, well, I'm not a woman, but I judge trains by their livery and their design. And I like that purple. That's funky cool. That would be cool to be in Spain and see that go by. That would be a quick, get the camera out. But the Seneca version up there is also cool. But yeah, I will hold by my joke. Coaches of the 9600 and the 10400 series. Okay, so these are older coaches, obviously. Very nice, very sharp. Not much I can really say about them. I wouldn't be looking to buy them. I won't be, and definitely not knowledgeable about them, but you want my reactions. They're cool. They look of their period. I mean, I could go to French trades, German trains, Dutch trades, and find very similar sort of kits. It just was of the era, right? All right, so more of those. Again, very sharp colors. I like them a lot. And then here we've got, so the Plataforme Auto Express. Okay, so yeah, Auto Rex, I think. In different colors. I like that. I do like those. Those would look cool. In a rake, to be honest, to have one of each of those colors in a nice little consist would be cool. And rotating the colors just to be cool. Or better yet, opposite rotating, the red, white, gray, gray, white, red. That would look really cool. All right, some box cars or refrigerator cars, I guess I should call them. Somebody will correct me. They're refrigerator cars, not box cars, but somebody will say they're not refrigerator cars either. Yeah, okay. I'm not a train aficionado. I don't know art, but I know what I like. All right, coal wagons, I think. So pretty cool. But again, CADs makes it a little harder to get into them, but a coal wagon's a coal wagon. And then some tankers over here. Very cool. A little, again, CADs, but just a different shape than the normal. And that will always attract me a bit. Like, you've seen one tanker, you've seen them all. And then you get some tankers that are a little differently designed. So hopefully the real models would look like the CADs. All right, there's some containers. Forward. Some of you will understand that. Mau. Never heard of it. I have now. Obviously a beer of some kind, but it's on a hopper car. But I assume it's a wheat hopper, and they carry the barley or whatever to make the beer. All right, another hopper, and then another flatbed, and there is. It's clearly the exact same thing they're releasing for Jouef and just sticking the Electrotren mode on it. I've already said I really like that. I think that's a really cool looking. Like I said, it looks like it's a glass sheet transporter. This is one thing where if somebody wants to tell me exactly what that is, go ahead and put comments down. I'm trying to discourage comments about what everything is. I don't want a history lesson, but that's one where, yeah, if I saw that, I might pick it up and throw it on one of my German racks. All right, so looking at some of the things that are being maintained, continued, I assume. Different locomotives, railway machinery, and so forth, shunters. I do like those rail cars. Those are Era 4. I guess it says they're at least one of them's a 443. So cool. I like those. All kinds of cars here. The ones down the bottom left look a little bit like the German ICs. That's cool. Yeah, a lot of different cars. Yeah, very cool. The long, skinny ones on the left-hand side at the top. What is that? The Renfa. That's obviously more freight, and then next to it, passenger. Those kind of grab my eyes a bit. The rest are just, they're fine. More cool tankers. Some sort of boxer refrigerator van again. And tankers. And elongated panel truck. And a tarpaulin. So all cool. And then here we have some rail cars. All very sharp. Pretty cool. Similar in concept and idea, like my Class 650 I have, that which I have a Roco. I have the Roco one that came out 3 years ago. Märklin just released one in a couple liveries in 2025. I'm not saying these are 650s. I'm just saying they're reminiscent. They remind me of it. All right, so now we get to RivaRossi. We're about halfway through, and I'm already 26 minutes in. Oh, all right, let's get a little faster. All right, so really our, other than the pictures we had, seen some real steamer models. We saw those 241s from Jouef in model form, which were sharp. But the Electrotren, it was all just photographs. All right, so 3 of all Pacifics. No, not all Pacifics, because they are not 4.6 or 4.62s. They are 2.62s. So all variations. Again, I don't know my steam classes here. I'm looking slight differences in tenders and numbering. All right, here we go. Now that's German, and that's the Henschel Wegmannzug. I recognize that. Märklin is got one in the works for 2027, and they released one a few years ago. So I'm actually a little familiar with this Stromlinienzug power line train. All right, so anyhow, very sharp and obviously German, so that piques my interest a little bit, but that is pre-World War. If I say pre-war or post-war, I'm referring to World War II. Because I do not buy war-era locomotives and trains. Yes, I have trains that would have been seen, but they started in the pre-war era. But things that are connected, I don't model military. Maybe that would be the easiest way to put it. I don't model military, especially World War II bad guys military, if I want to put it that way. And some different variations of it. I like that. That shines in red. I really like that in red. Black's cool too, but the red grabs my eye. So that's pretty cool. Deutsche Reichsbahn there too, but in red. That's cool in red. All right. A little rail car. A little Fiat rail car. And if you don't know, my last name's Dodge, and I'm related to the car company distantly, and Fiat's not a good name in this house. But a little Fiat rail car, which is about how I feel about Fiat. There it is. So that's kind of weird and funky. I'm sure that would look cool running on somebody's layout. Hey, look at my little rail car. But yeah, variations of a theme here. In this case, I kind of like seeing the pictures on top of the models. Just like, did these really exist? And obviously they did. This is for when you want to travel by train, but you don't want to. You still want your own car. All right, so here's our big diesel movers. I kind of like the DB Cargo, but this is not my favorite breed of train, no matter what country or where. So RivaRossi really going here for the German market. And speaking of which, that's a 627. I was going to say more stuff reminiscent of the 650 predecessors, because these are era 4. The bottom one is era 6, but obviously something's still being used. What's this? Oh, it's another 7250, which we, again, probably just same mold as was used in, was it Jouef? But this one is for, I can't quite see what that flag is. Is that Belgian? I gotta assume that's Belgian. So the same thing. I like it. Very sharp. Very cool unit. Give me a German one in a German livery and we're all good. But like that a lot. Okay, so some multiple units here. A Rapido 871, 872, the Roma Ancona. So this would have gone Italy to Spain, maybe? Or is this all Italian? Ancona, I think, is in Italy. Sorry, guys, my geography is usually very strong, but very cool. I like both of those for their era, very sharp. So you can see the real thing and then the projected alignment. But again, no model, it's hard to get as excited, but those will look cool on anybody's layout. And here we go. We've got Italian high speed, the Freccia Bianca. But yeah, so you got, I assume you got a base 4-car set and then a 5-car add-on set. Those are kind of cool because in a way, the passenger coaches look kind of retro. There's just a little bit of a retro feel. A very retro feel. Like they took an idea from the luxury of the 1920s and brought it into the 2020s. So it's very modern looking, but there's a retro feel. I dig that. That's cool. I like that a lot. That's a very sharp runner. Italians do have some cool high-speed trains. All right, the ETR 470. I have actually heard of these. This is Swiss, Italian, German. So this looks a little bit like the old Metropole and what was the other one? The Metropolitan and what was it? The Senator. I'm not saying it's the same type. It just, that's what, all of a sudden it brings those to mind. And the coloring almost looks like an Amtrak. Very cool. Very cool. Era 5. So it's within that range. Although really, my first trip to Germany, Europe was in 2003. And I have a friend who loves these trains, Thomas. If you're wondering if I'm talking about you, yes, here they are, these little reticulated split things. I will say they're fine. I'm not a big fan of them. It's not like I go, oh, cool. They were designed, they do their job, and obviously a lot of people love them. Not my personal favorite stylistically. Or the big toasters on the left there. And then I'm, and I could be not a hypocrite, but I'll have styles I like that other people don't. For example, the Hungarian thing to the right here, I kind of like that. I do like the Trax and Bombardier units from Germany, and even the new Stadler ones that are coming out. I do love that style. I don't know specifically why, but it appeals to me. The rounded, more aerodynamic look that way. And some old classics here. And it's got to be Swiss. Yep. Okay. Buffet bar. So some coaches here. More of the TEN, the 10. Yeah, okay. So again, I'm assuming these are things we've seen earlier, just also being released. Same molding, just being released through the RivaRossi name. And I think we still have Lima to go, so we need to pick up the pace here. We're already well past half an hour, but it was a big one. All right, so we've got some CIWL coaches on the right. Again, the Côte d'Azur, the Azure Coast, the Blue Coast, if we get into English. So variations of what I always call the Orient Express. Obviously, the Orient Express was a specific train. It's just that's the train that is so locked into my brain. When I see coaches of the CIWL, I immediately think the Orient Express. Again, limited history, limited experience, I plead. But very cool. But there are certain coaches I love more than others. On the left, those are kind of more modern era, 4 and 5, of course. But yeah, I love the CIWLs, especially when they're in the high-end luxury for the Orient Express. And there it is, the 50 years nostalgia Istanbul Orient Express. 50 years nostalgia. So that's cool, although it's not my favorite grouping of cars. That's cool. I would have to say, I'd have to see it again and say, there it is. Because all brown or all blue with certain two-tone setup are what really get me going when it comes to basically Orient Express. All right, some East German. Interesting because I think, wasn't it just Roco I saw is releasing a set of these double-deckers like this from the Deutsche Reichsbahn, the East German post-war. I also don't do East German trains. I'll probably get an angry letter for that. So more German coaches. I need a small set of these coaches. The all blues in the Deutsche Bahn livery. And then I could do with some of the red white ones here, and then the Bavaria, the TEE coaches. I love those. This whole page is all cool coaches, ones where I'm looking at getting sets. The TEE Bavaria, I just love those coaches. You get variations of the that burgundy red and cream. Those are all sharp. And here's the Euro Express. Ormondies has an older Märklin version of it. I like those new coaches there, even though it's era 5 and 6. These particular era 6 one with the Bold restaurant and the car above it, those would look cool connected to the Märklin set that I keep trying to talk myself into buying it, and I went to buy the locomotive, and the locomotive was gone. They had the locomotive and the 3 car sets to make the train, and sadly it was gone. All right, some Mitropa and another, this really seems to be a theme, the passenger coach, sleeping car, and the auto rack behind it. That's very cool. All right, this right here, the Blaue Enzian, and I actually could buy a Blaue Enzian set, a Märklin set, but it is very expensive. The Blaue Enzian, that's a cool set. I would love that train. I've already got a locomotive it would go with. That would be great. I like that. And then here is that car again. Is that Russian? Is that the Russian flag? Or is that the... No, I'm sorry. ZSSK. So that's Slovakian. Sorry about that. I'm looking at this on my monitor, and the flag is about that big. Even with my glasses, I couldn't see the little... And I had to get closer. All right, so very cool. I like that, and I like that variation of it. So either I'll get the French one or even the Italian version. And but yeah, I really like that. I think that's one of the coolest freight pieces in this catalog. I really like that for some reason. But I'm also looking at the Blaue Enzian. All right, just some random freight. The Nendas has a cool scheme on it, obviously. Swiss. And then the tarpaulin cars below it. And then your standard variations of container wagons and such. Flatbeds and more. I mean, call me crazy. There's not a lot. Usually there's not a lot about flatbeds to get really excited about. It's what you throw on them. like containers, and these are all cool containers. DB Shanker, yeah. But these other three, Berea, in our part of the world, here in Toledo, Ohio, Berea is noodles, pasta. But what's that one? My Spanish. Codonoto? Codonoto? That's a cool container. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind a couple of those added to my container train. And some various hoppers, all kinds, very cool. The GATX I like there, but any of these are cool. I've just bought a bunch in that style. Now these, obviously, where they've got the really cool artwork on them or ads, Diceco, or is it Dicecio? Because I've got friends that tell me double C is pronounced like an S in Italy, and others that say no, it's the K sound, Diceco. My friend was Mike Del Vecchio, and he was CCH, Del Vecchio, from Italy. Wiedemeyer. But yeah, both those on the left are very cool. Those are just, not that I gotta have them, just, they're different, and therefore they stand out. A lot of cool tankers there. Aracati. See, those yellow ones immediately grab my eye. The Wascosa is cool, but the yellow, it's just, you got all these more subdued colors and then this bright sunny yellow. All right. Refrigerator car or something over there. Peroni. And Birra Peroni. See, that's the story immediately comes out. I see Peroni. I never had a lot of care for Italian beers, and then I had a Peroni Gran Preserva or something like that in the UK. It was imported into the UK. I can't find it in America, but it was like Gran Reserva or something like that, and man, that was a really good beer. I went to a restaurant, they had it, and I had it again, and 2 times I had it, and 2 times I thought this is one of the better beers I've ever had. And there it is in Italian, and then, all right, we got a straight up European version. The Hispanauto. But man, that is just, I like that, man. I think out of this whole catalog, I saw some cool high-speed trains and some funky ones, but I think the one thing seeing this catalog is like, I got to get a couple of those glass transports or whatever they are. And I know people are going, they're not glass transports. That's not what they are. I don't read the language, and that's what it looks like. It looks like, but, oh well. But why would you transport glass by rail like that? Boom, 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 boom. Shh. Whatever they're transporting, I'm in. I will have to find those now. All right, and now some other locomotives that they are also releasing or continue to release. A couple of cool little steamers. Let's see, those are 080s, it looks like. And then the standard extended diesels. Although I will say the one on the bottom left, that one, if you can see my cursor, that's a funky, cool livery. I like that. A lot of trains here, a lot of trains here. Going on, going on. They said this was 115 pages. Nope, this is a lot more than 115 pages. Mine says 157 already. Wow. The big steamers here on the right-hand side. And yes, they're Americans, of course. The Chesapeake in Ohio. You're talking to me, Chesapeake in Ohio. Articulated the 2666. Okay. Being Chesapeake in Ohio, since I'm in Ohio, and Chesapeake in Ohio ran through here back in the day. Yeah, but they're DC. I need, if I'm going to get a big American steamer, I want it 3 rails so it goes on my layout, my main layout. All right, all kinds of mix, especially like the DB Cargo, the class 171 from Era 5. That just, you know, the minute Deutsche Bahn Verkehrsrot comes out, or Orient Red, my eyes grab it. And there is what looks like, it's an E402 from Italy. And 402B, those look like tracks, locomotives, and some more cars. Probably should split this up. all kinds of cool looking things. European, Italian Holland Express. Kind of cool there. I actually like these cars on the bottom center on the left side. Those are kind of cool. Italian cars. Those are cool. They match my night train, my Italian Trenonota. And then the Italian Holland Express, another set of cars. I don't know if these go with these up here. They must. Yeah, that's all one set. Kind of weird. It's just a personal. I hate it when you have like 3 totally different liveries on one train. I know it's because it's different countries put together. Just my autism ADD doesn't respond to that funky change up. What's this one? An Italian set of 3 Carosa Composta. But this in the upper right hand corner, those are Era 6. Those are cool looking coaches. I like those. And then down here, so yeah, I like both those. Those stand out to me. And then more freight. And more freight. And RivaRossi, I think, is saying goodbye with some hoppers and a graffiti tarpaulin. I'm not into graffiti. So are we at the end, or do we still have Lima? Yes, we got Lima. This is going to be a long video. So also Italian trains. That's a cool looking. I like that. What era is that? Era 6. So that's current era. I like that locomotive. It looks incomplete on the end, and then you stick it with the double deckers. But that's cool. That's a cool looking train. Now that's CADs. I'd love to see the full model. There's the coaches that we were just looking at. Like that a lot. And then there's this, I think, the same type of locomotive or similar family. And you'd have one at the front, one at the end, so kind of like a multiple unit. The Intercity. But see, in that picture down there where you got the 2 different type of coaches, that breaks up my mind's need for a mental rhythm. If you had all the cars in the middle, like what you see there, that would be really cool with the 2 units at the end. Now, this is also very cool. A multiple unit double-decker. Very cool. I like that. The livery's fetching enough. It grabs your attention. It's clean. I know it's all CAD, but you have the CAD and the real thing there. So, but again, I really want to see what the model looks like, but I like that. And voila, an ETR. Italian, Swiss, and German. Whoops, I think I accidentally skipped it. I like that. That's sharp. Has a little bit of an ICE feel. Got that long extended nose I associate with a lot of the Swiss and Italian high speeds. Very sharp, like that. And then this variation. Now see, this one, the 4-car set on the left, I like, but well, I don't know. I would have to see that all run together as a rate, because the restaurant car, which I know always break things up a bit, but I do like it when the restaurant car flows a little smoother. But yeah, that's cool. Now see, I would have associated that more with Swiss than as Italian. And it does say SBB, and voila. And here they go. Now, are you guys by any chance doing this? They've got variations of it. I would love a modern ICE1 because Märklin has not updated their ICE1s in 20 years. And I would love a really new ICE1. It's got the green going. But Lima, are you going to do a... I doubt you're going to do a Wechselstrom version. I don't think you're going to do a 3-rail version, which is a shame because, yeah, that's very sharp. That's a cool looking IC1 too. IC1. I like that. That's very sharp. Okay, see, now they've gotten into my world, and so now I'm going to respond. They call it German and Swiss, but that's Deutsche Bahn. It may run into Switzerland, but it's German. But I just like that. I like the little livery additions to it. That makes it stand out a little bit further from a standard ICE1. That's sharp because, again, I've got a couple of ICE1s and they're both old models. Well, the one I have, no, that's an ICE2, is more recent. But it's their standard repackage. And then some add-on cars. The ICE1, the Pioneer, and more coaches you could add on. But I wonder what type of coupler they have, if they're the pin coupler. Wow, look at all these different add-on coaches. Very cool. Very cool. And into some things I'm not familiar with. So all Italian, Era 4.5, Era 5, Era 5. So would these be kind of rail cars? Trams? They're not really trams. Kind of rail cars, but they're all kind of cool. I like the double one down here. That's kind of cool looking. Cool looking coaches there. And then these, which... they're being released as Lima, but I've got two of them over there, which I bought from, was it Lima? They might be Limas. I've actually got the bratwurst one and the crepes one sitting on my layout right over here. I'm looking at them right now in front of my Delmenhorst bus station. And then Lima's plastic. I don't know who makes these for Lima. Now, obviously, Hornby makes them, but they're the same idea, battery operated as the German My World kits that my grandson has that I bought him. All right, so diorama accessories and couplers, different types of couplers. Those are interesting, very realistic. Oh, even your hook and chain couplers. Different types of couplers for different type of vehicles. That's cool. And what is that? Electric locomotive. Somebody's going to have to explain what that is. Is this a car motion system or something like that? I mean, I'm seeing the cars here. But, yeah, from Piko models. So we've gone into a new world here, accessories. So I'm just going to zoom through that. And catenary wires. I need to start getting catenary sets up before I do the next stage. Although I might just save it till last. And then there's your standard controllers and road beds and all that stuff. So I'm just going to zip through that. I hope the person who asked me to do this doesn't mind. Scale Scenics. The general ones, you get same stuff you get in about 20 different company names. And there's the main index. All right, so there, I did it. Again, I did it as a one-off. I don't plan on doing it yearly, so it's very scary to do a one-off like that. So, on that note, I've done this one-off. If this gets 5 views, I guess I'll be happy. Again, please don't. There's several of you that you're at your keyboards now correcting everything or explaining everything, and you're going to leave a 20-minute long post to read, and I'm not going to read it. I'm just like, I'm not that interested. Save your ink. Just tell me what kind of the one I kept calling a glass transport. Confirm that was a glass transport or what it was, because of all the things I looked at, other than maybe those ICU, but they don't make them in 3-row. But of all the things I looked at, those little glass transporter things were the ones that I looked at the catalog and said, that would be nice to have. And also the abandoned love child of the Shinkansen and the ICE1. On that note, I'm going to apologize for offending anybody, and hope you enjoyed it. Auf Wiedersehen, tschüss, and happy trains. Take care, everybody.